Mariam, your host for the evening. You're currently logged into the fourth episode of Founders Talk, which is an initiative of NASCOM Foundation in association with the Thinkubator platform. As you must be knowing, the Thinkubator is a platform for young innovators to transform their idea into prototypes or into businesses. Currently, the Cisco Thinkubator boasts of 30 teams in the startup. I'd like to extend my congratulations and warm welcome to each and every one of those teams and to all of the Thinkubator participants. Next, I'd like to welcome Dr. Ramanna, Maker Expert, NASCOM Foundation, Mr. Akhil Madhav, Maker Manager, NASCOM Foundation. Now, finally, I'd like to give a brief introduction of our illustrious and inspiring speaker, Dr. Dhruv Nath. His accomplishments and credentials are so vast that I could not possibly do justice to them in a span of 2 minutes. However, I shall do my best to give you an introduction befitting Dr. Dr. Nath is an angel investor and mentor and a director with Lead Angels Network. Earlier, Dr. Nath was a professor at MDI Gurgaon and a senior vice president at NIIT Limited. He has a BTech in electrical engineering and a PhD in computer science, both from the reputed IIT Delhi. He has co-authored the popular book Funding Your Startup and Other Nightmares. Very warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. So you want to go on talking or should I take over?
Take over, sir.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay, thank you. Okay, so yeah, thanks and welcome everyone. I'm assuming all of you are students, and I know after a very tiring day of classes, this is normally drink time. Okay, I'm sorry I've interrupted your drink time, but actually you can continue to drink. I mean, you can have your beer, you can have your uh, whatever you have, rum or whiskey or whatever, and you can continue to listen. Right? So, okay, so what I will do, Akhil asked me to talk about everything on earth, right? Obviously, in 1 hour, I cannot talk about everything on earth. So, I, I've shortlisted that down to 2 topics. But if you have questions and if you'd like to, take me beyond what I plan to cover, sure, I have no issues, right? So just to give you a little background, Saleha had mentioned that I am an angel investor. So I actually have been investing. I've mentored a very large number of startups. And based on all that, me and my colleague, we have written this book. Okay, it's called, unfortunately, it is upside down, but it's called Funding Your Startup and Other Nightmares. Okay. So what I will do is I will talk about um, one story from this book. So this book is full of stories about startups that succeeded, startups that failed, and why they failed. So I'll talk about one story, and then I will talk about the investment process. How do you approach angel investors? What do they look for, etc., etc. Is that okay, Akhil? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Okay. Good.
perfect.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
And I hope you are sending me dinner via Dunzo. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, sure, sure. We will try
Uh,
sending you some Amazon
because
vouchers too.
yeah, because when I get hungry, I stop talking.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Okay. So, by the way, I have a policy in life. I don't talk to people I can't see. Right now, I can see one, two, three, four, 5 people. Everybody else is either sitting in their banyans or I don't know, or drinking. Come on, yeah, show your faces and let's make it interactive. Ah, yes, now I can see people. Good. So, one more person I can see, and the rest are still shy. So, please show me your faces. Yes. Good, good, good. Okay. So, let me start sharing and tell me if you can see. Okay, so just hold on. Okay. So can you see the screen?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I will start by telling you a bit of a story. And this is a story of one startup which I have not invested in it, but I have been involved, and I know the founder very well, right? And this is a story that is called Squirrel. Okay. Now, you guys, particularly when your girlfriend, boyfriend, you would be going to parks, right? And you sit there, you hold hands, right? And you can see those little squirrels in action, correct? And you will notice something very interesting. You'll notice that they are locating food, so they locate nuts and berries and whatever else they can eat. But at the end of that, they also save a lot of food because there will be days when they can't get food, right? So they have to save food. Now, if you look at human beings, they also need to save, isn't it? Although they don't need to save money, they need to save food, correct? There is a very fundamental problem with saving, a very fundamental problem. Anybody, what's the problem? Let me ask, who do I ask? Akash, what's the problem with saving?
Sir, it can run out. I mean, if it's like the incoming is not equivalent, then it will run out.
Okay, yes, agreed. But there's another problem. See, the problem is there are far too many temptations in life, isn't it? So, for example, and you can see, sorry, your name is? Okay, there is something very strange. When I see the face, I can't. Akash. So I can see Akash nodding his head. Yeah. So, for example, tomorrow, if Royal Enfield comes out with a brand new 700cc motorbike, I'm sure all the young men in this group will just run there at 4 o'clock in the morning to buy that bike. Similarly, if today, let's say one of the actresses in Bollywood, say, who are the current hot favorite actresses in Bollywood? Anyone? Akash, Saleha?
Deepika Padukone, Sir, Alia Bhatt, I suppose.
Tell me one thing. Akash, how old are you?
Sir, I'm 21, just 20.
So for you, Deepika is Deepika auntie. Let's be very clear.
True.
Anyway,
That's true, sir. Right?
okay, so anyway, let's assume it is Deepika. So if Deepika wears a brand new dress in some movie, I'm sure all the ladies, all the young ladies in this group will run by that dress. Okay? And that's the end of savings. To hell with saving, isn't it? So the problem is there are far too many temptations in life. Now, what the founder said was, okay, if we have to look at how to save, let us go back to our grandmother's time. Okay. Now, during your grandmother's time, okay, you would have had something called a gullak. Now, at least in North India and Eastern India, we call it a gullak. I don't know what you call it in South India, but I think you can you can see this, right? You can see this picture of a gullak. So uh, it's a little thing made of mitti, made of earth, and there's a small slot for putting in change, okay, coins or notes or whatever. So how does this work? Let us say your grandmother goes to the vegetable vendor, the sabzi wala, and she buys 9 rupees 80 paise worth of vegetables. Okay, and she gives him a 10 rupee note. What does he give back to her? 20 paise. That 20 paise goes into this little slot in the gullak. Okay. Or tomorrow she spends, let's say, 14 rupees 70 paise, right? 30 paise left. That 30 paise goes into the gullak. Okay? So every time she spends money, she's also saving very tiny amounts of money. She's not saving huge amounts, but she's saving tiny amounts, a small change that is left over. Now, the one thing you must realize is, why does this work? Anybody, can you tell me why it works? Why it is successful, where normally saving is not easy? Why does it work?
Because you need
Why
to
do
break it to open it.
The coffee you sent has not reached me, so I've got my own tea.
It works because you have to break it to get the money.
Sorry, you have to. Yeah, correct. Valid. Money, right?
Sir, there's no
Yeah.
commitment. You don't have to
Sorry,
put a
there's no-
specific amount every time.
Okay. Good.
Whatever
So
you want, you can put it as much.
both of you get a chocolate.
The thing is, you don't need to plan.
Okay. Both of you get a chocolate.
Automatic.
I have already given a carton of chocolates to Akhil, so please pick up one chocolate each from him. Okay. So, the reason why it works is that it's a very tiny amount. You spend almost 10 rupees, you spend 9 rupees 80 paise. Right? Spending an extra 20 paise is no big deal. Okay, I'll spend it. ठीक है, चलेगा. Not a problem, right? So, as long as the amount you're spending as compared, the amount you're saving is tiny compared to what you spend, it is painless. Okay, and that's why it works. So what the founders of Squirrel did was they said, okay, wonderful. What we will do now is we will automate this Gullak because this is a digital environment, right? You can't tell people to buy a Gullak. Gullak has to be on an app, right, or on the website. So they automated this Gullak, and let me explain how. So what they did was they said, okay, we create an app, right? And you have to download the app and you have to register. Okay? Now, when you register on this app, every time you spend money, right? You can spend money through a credit card or a debit card or online banking or Paytm or MobiKwik or UPI, Bheem, PhonePe, it doesn't matter what, right? Whenever you spend money, there is one thing you will always get on your phone. What is that? Whenever you spend some money, what will you get?
Cashback.
SMS, isn't it? You get an SMS which tells you how much you spent, right? Correct. Widget. You also get a chocolate. So you get an SMS, right? Now when you registered on Squirrel, you actually gave them permission to access the SMSs which talk about spending. Okay, so Squirrel knows how much you have spent. Correct. Now I want to clarify one thing, and maybe let me ask one of you guys. Gaurav, you have a girlfriend?
No, sir.
No. Okay. So what's her name? What's her name, Gaurav?
She does not exist.
Okay. So I'll go back to Akash. Akash, just show me your face. So Akash,
Hi,
your girlfriend, we can assume is called Deepika, right? Deepika auntie. Okay.
okay, sir.
Now, let's assume Gaurav and Deepika auntie are having a wonderful lovey-dovey conversation on SMSs on their phones, right? And Gaurav is very worried. Deepika doesn't care, but Gaurav is very worried that this information, the chat that they have on SMS will become public, and ultimately it will want to Twitter. You won't. You know why? Because Squirrel has said very clearly, we are not interested in your love life. You can break up with Deepika, you can marry her, you can do what? Well, you can't marry her right now, but you can do what you want, right? All we are interested in is those SMSs where it says that you have spent some money. That's all, right? So don't worry, Gaurav. So don't worry, Akash. No problem. Yeah. So it knows how much you spent. Now what it does is it doesn't save money at the end of every transaction. Instead, it saves money. Sorry, that's another of my uh, the founder of one company I invested in. Maybe I'll talk about that as well. Yeah. So at the end of the week, what it does is it totals up all your expenses, right? And so let's say you have spent 1,360. It now rounds it up just as in the case of the Gullak, you would take the change. Here you take the change, round it up to the next 100. So if you spend 1,360, 40 rupees you add to that, it takes it to 1,400. Correct? 40 rupees is saved by Squirrel. Obviously digitally, not physically in a Gullak, right? So that's how the money is saved. And once again, exactly the way it works in the case of the Gullak, these are small amounts. So you look at Akash, for example. Akash is a very rich guy. I don't know if he will not spend stupid things like 1,360. So he'll spend maybe 15,280, right? All he has to save is the 20 rupees, isn't it? Completely painless, no problem, right? So that is saved, and that is how it helps you to save. Now, what the founders, there were 3 founders in Squirrel, what they realized was, they said, we actually cannot charge for this. People are not going to pay us for helping them to save. Right? It doesn't make sense. But what we can do is, we can get people to save, and we will do it free. Once we have got all these savers onboarded, right, then we will offer them other financial products and charge for them. Okay? What kind of products? You can buy insurance through us, take a loan through us, you can invest in mutual funds, you can do financial planning, all kinds of things, right? And these we will charge for. So that is how Squirrel makes money. Okay, is the story of Squirrel clear? Yeah. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is just take 2 or 3 minutes while I have tea. Take a look at their website, and remember, Squirrel is spelled Sqrrl. Yeah, Kushal, I can see your thumb. So just take a look at the website, or if you want to download the app, but that may take time, just take a look at the website. You'll see how it works, and then we will try and analyze this company. Meanwhile, I will have the tea that Akhil has not sent me. And Gaurav, you can think about your girlfriend now. I'm sure you have one. I want you guys to be honest. Kushal is laughing. Yeah, I think somebody needs to mute himself because there is some background noise. Yeah, please mute yourselves till you answer a question. Or, by the way, if you have a question, you're most welcome to ask. We can interrupt this. It is not a monologue. If it's a monologue, you'll sleep or drink. Yeah, the reason why I request people to mute themselves is sometimes, the student's mother comes in, starts shouting at him, so everybody can hear what she's shouting. Now Avni is laughing. Priyanka is also laughing. Good. It's good to laugh. Yeah. And so when you've taken a look, just tell me, then we can proceed.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
So who is the target demographic for this app?
Ah, wonderful. I'm going to ask you that question. I will ask you that question about 2 slides later. And for this question, you get 2 chocolates. I'll ask you that question. It's a very good question, very valid question. So have you seen it? Can we move?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Akhil, since you have not sent me those kebabs that you promised, I'm having biscuits.
Sure, sir. Next time I will send you Amazon vouchers also.
No, I don't want Amazon vouchers. I want kebabs.
See, we usually providing Amazon vouchers
Or
for the price money.
since you're from Kerala, I want idiyappam. Okay.
Oh, okay, great. I will definitely parcel something for you.
Okay. So uh, after we analyzed a very large number of these startups, and by the way, all these stories are given in this book. It's a light book to read. After we met all these startups, we realized that there were some common things which all successful startups were doing. And what we did was we converted that into a framework which I called persistent. Right? You can see that framework here. And when I say persistent is a framework, basically what that means is each letter of the word persistent stands for something. Okay? So what we'll take a look at is what each letter stands for and therefore how it applies to Squirrel. Is that okay? So the first letter is P, which stands for problem. Obviously, you have to be solving a problem for somebody if you're running a successful business. If you're not solving a problem for anybody, boss, you don't have a business. Very simple, right? So clearly these guys were solving a problem because they were helping people to save. But not only to save, they were also helping people to buy mutual funds, to to buy insurance products, to maybe do financial planning and so on. Okay, so they were actually helping people to invest in or buy all kind of financial products, and that's the problem they were solving. So they satisfied this first part. Second part, which is the E in the word persistent, earnings model. See, you must remember, not only should you be solving a problem for somebody, but that somebody has to be willing to pay you. If he doesn't pay you, it's charity. Then you're doing it free, isn't it? And that's not a business. Okay. So here clearly, the customer would not be willing to pay Squirrel for helping him save, but definitely they would be willing to pay a commission or maybe a monthly fee for helping the customer invest in funds, for buying insurance products, because then you take a commission on the insurance, or for doing, somebody's younger sister has come. Gaurav's sister. Yeah. So, for these things they're willing to pay, right? And that is the earnings model, correct? So they definitely do have an earnings model. Okay. Third issue, again very important, size of the market, right? Now this is extremely important because when you create a startup, you don't want to create a startup which goes up to, let's say, 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs, and then says, sorry, I'm tired, I cannot grow any further. I mean, you want to create a startup which goes up to 1 crore, 5 crores, 10 crores, 20 crores, maybe ultimately becomes a unicorn. All of you know what a unicorn is, right?
Yes,
What's a unicorn?
$1 billion valuation startup.
Wonderful. One more chocolate for you, Saleha.
Thank you, sir.
Good. And Kushal also. You also. Yeah. So the size of the market becomes very important because if your market is small, you can't grow, right? Now here the market is huge, absolutely huge. Why? Because essentially you're aiming at the Indian middle class, and the Indian middle class is how much? About 40 crore people, 35 crore people. That's phenomenal. That is bigger than the population of any other country except for China, right? That's a huge market, no problem at all. However, you have one fundamental problem. And this is where I come to the question which Saleha asked. And Saleha will answer it for us. The problem now is sometimes the market is crowded. Tell me, what is a crowded market?
Two competitors.
Absolutely. Saleha, you get one more chocolate. How many chocolates can you eat in one day?
Since I haven't received any yet, I think.
No. It's a hypothetical question. Look, even Deepika was a hypothetical girlfriend for Akash. He has not received Deepika, and he's not likely to. Okay, so yes, crowded market means lots and lots and lots of competitors. Can you tell me for the kind of services these guys were offering? You know, they were doing things like you can buy mutual funds, you can buy insurance, you can uh, um, do financial planning, right? Do tax planning, etc. Can you think of other big players who are in the same business online?
Grow.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, give me
There,
examples.
there is Grow, Zerodha, and
Grow,
Upstocks.
perfect. Who said that? Pranav.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Chocolate. So yes, Grow, Zerodha. What else?
Sir,
Bima
even
Pay.
PhonePe
Upstocks.
and PhonePe has started this thing of
Paytm
investing
as well.
and loans, insurance on
Wonderful.
their app.
Paytm. Yes. Who's the guy in the pink shirt? What's your name? I can't see your name.
Rishabh, sir.
Rishabh. Yeah.
Rishabh.
Rishabh, Pranav. Yes. Chocolates. By the way, are you guys all above the age of 18?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Nobody below 18? Okay, then I mean, why am I giving you chocolates? I'll give you a can of beer each. Is it okay? Preferable?
Sure, sir.
Yeah. Okay, good. Now suddenly I can see people grinning away. Earlier, everybody was frowning. It's good, wonderful. And Kushal is very happy. Okay, so you have Policy Bazaar, right, for insurance, right? You got Zerodha, you got Grow, you got now Upstocks, okay? Then you got Paytm Money, you got ET Money, you got all these guys, they are huge and they're already in this business. Squirrel started about 4 years back, about I think 1 year before the lockdown. So about 2018, right? No, 2019 actually. And the problem is, you know, when you have a market where there is so much of a crowd, it is very difficult to survive, particularly if the other guys are huge, right? It's very difficult for a startup to survive, right? So now what you do, and therefore, what should Squirrel have done? And this is a question I'm going to ask to Saleha. Yeah, Saleha, now you can tell me. What should Squirrel have done, and therefore, what did they do? You ask me this question, you answer it. Where is Saleha? I can't see your face.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
So
tell me.
I think since the market is crowded, they need a USP, a unique selling point, which would
Wonderful.
make them different from their competitors and give them an edge over their competitors.
Okay.
Since it is a startup and the others are already well established, most of them.
Okay. Yes.
So
Perfect.
I
Perfect.
noticed on the website that one thing that they offer is how to save on tax, income tax.
Uh-huh.
So in
But
order to
actually,
save,
even that, a lot of people offer. There are a lot of websites which offer financial services. By the way, Saleha, chocolate or beer?
chocolates, sir.
Oh, okay, fine. So one more chocolate, Akhil, please. Akhil, I had sent you a carton. I hope it's not finished.
Sure,
So
sure.
you have to give one more to Saleha. Okay. So therefore, you have to do something which is different from what the other guys are doing. Okay, which is what Saleha is saying. One thing you can do which is different is you identify a subset of that crowded market. Right? So you look at the the 40 crore or middle class in India, which is a very, very crowded space. Just try and see, is there a space, a subset within that which is not being serviced by these guys like Policy Bazaar and Paytm and so on. And actually you'll find there is. See, if you look at people in the age group of about 25 plus, right, 25, 30, 40, 50, when they invest large amounts. When they buy a policy, they'll buy a big policy, right? Therefore, all these guys like Paisa Bazaar and Policy Bazaar and Paytm Money and Zerodha, they are interested in such people. And because obviously the amounts involved are much larger. They are not interested in college students. They are not interested in people who are still in their first job and earning very small amounts. Because the amount of commission that the site will earn is peanuts. They're not interested, right? So if you now look at people in the age group of, let's say, 18 to 24, 25, which is college students and people in their first job, all of you, Squirrel said nobody is really targeting these guys. We will target them, and that is the answer to Saleha's question. So they said, okay, we will not target everybody. We will look at a subset, and that subset nobody else is interested in. We will target only them. But the interesting thing is these guys over time will grow, right? They'll start earning more. And when they start earning more, the quantum of purchases they make, the size of the insurance policy or the mutual fund that they buy starts going up. And if they are happy with us, they will continue with us, right? So we actually catch them young. And that is what Squirrel did. And therefore, if I were to generalize, when you are in a crowded market, try and identify a large enough niche or subset within that. Yeah, somebody's talking about Pampe. Yes, there are other guys as well. Correct? So identify a large enough non-crowded niche or subset. Now, obviously, this is large enough because even if you look at youngsters, students, or people in their first job, even that is about 10 crores. That's huge. So it's a phenomenal market. It's bigger than most countries and most populations of the world, except for possibly the USA and Russia and maybe Brazil, right? So that's what they did, and that is the fourth element in our persistent framework, niche. Fine. Is that okay, Saleha?
Yeah.
Saleha is very busy eating chocolates. Okay. So now, next question is scalability. First of all, can somebody define what scalability is? What is scalability? And therefore, how scalable is Squirrel? Is it a highly scalable business? Is it not?
Sir, it is a scalable.
Yeah. So what is scalability?
So the business should
Startup
grow
which can
as
grow really well.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, Om, carry on. Om, you have to show me your face. Sorry. By the way, whenever you give your answers, please show me your face and give me your name first.
Sir, Om here. So
Yeah.
the startup which can scale and grow really well during a period of time.
So scalability is scaling really well. Boss,
No, growing.
I haven't understood.
Growing.
Sir, Vijit
Growth
here.
of a company.
Correct. Correct. So scalability is how rapidly, see, size of the market tells you how big the market is. Scalability tells you how fast, how rapidly you can grow within that market. Okay, that's scalability. Now, I'll just give you an example. If you look at a typical Kirana shop, the guy next door who sells biscuits and bread and eggs and so on and so forth. That actually is not a scalable business. Why is it not a scalable business? One very simple reason.
because the business becomes stagnant as the new customer won't be coming to them.
Okay, yes, valid. Chocolate. Sorry, beer for you or chocolate? Rishabh?
Anything is fine, sir.
Yeah, come on, give me your choice.
Beer would be better.
Sure. So, Akhil, please give him one can, but make it chilled. Huh?
Yeah, sure. I'm noting down the names.
Yeah, please. For me, idiyappam. I have my own beer at home. Okay. So, yes, if you look at a Kirana shop, right? Suppose, see, when I say scalability, I mean rapid growth. I don't mean 10%, 15% growth in a year. I mean maybe 200%, 300% growth in a year, right? Now, if a Kirana shop has to grow 300, 400%, what do they need to do? They will have to open 3 more Kirana shops, maybe in different localities, correct? Because they cannot grow 400% in the same physical space, isn't it? 3 more places they have to get real estate, which means they have to either buy or rent out a shop. Okay. Then they have to build in infrastructure, the counter, the shelves, etc., cupboards, right? Then they have to get people to manage those shops because the same guy cannot be managing 4 shops, isn't it? So there is a lot of infrastructure to be added. There is a lot of people to be added, and when you have to add a lot of infrastructure, a lot of people, that cuts down the scalability because you cannot do that fast. Okay, you cannot say, okay, in 1 year I'm going to add 10 more shops. You can't. You can maybe add 1 at the most, right? But if you look at a business which is purely digital, like Squirrel is a purely digital business, right? No infrastructure to be added. Sorry, there's somebody who's putting down comments in chat, but I can't read it. Nobody's got acquired so far, by the way. This Squirrel that I'm talking about has not been acquired. That may be an American company, right? I don't know who was putting those down. I think Pranav. Yeah.
Yes, sir. There are two companies named as Squirrel.
No, so the Squirrel I'm talking about is an Indian company. It is actually headquartered in Gurgaon, and it's for the Indian market. Okay, so a pure digital company like Squirrel, there is no infrastructure to be added. To grow 5 times, you don't have to add 5 times the manpower. You don't have to add 5 times the infrastructure. You don't have to take 5 times the real estate. So, not a problem. It is not infrastructure heavy. It is not manpower heavy. Therefore, it is very highly scalable. Okay. So please remember, any business which is purely digital is very highly scalable. But remember one thing, if you are highly scalable, chances are your competitor is also highly scalable because he will also be in a digital business, right? If you look at a business like, for example, Amazon, it is somewhere in between, correct? Where it is entirely digital, except that there are logistics involved because they have to pick up stuff from vendors, the physical things that they sell, store it in the warehouse, package it, and then deliver it. So there is some element of physicality, but there is a lot of digital stuff. So it's a highly scalable thing, but not as scalable as a purely digital business. Is that okay so far?
Sir, so what is the difference between Walmart and a local Kirana store? Walmart has enough capital to grow and Kirana does not have. So, like, is that the major difference or is there some
Yeah.
other
So
specific
okay.
detail?
So let me give you 2 quick comments. So first of all, when you talk of Walmart, I'm assuming you're talking of the physical Walmart, not
Yes.
the Flipkart.
Yes.
Right? Okay. A physical Walmart is also not a highly scalable business. You know, Walmart has grown to this size over how many years? How many years? Maybe 50 years, 60 years? I don't know when it started, right? But if you look at highly scalable businesses, like what are the highly scalable business today? Facebook, 100% digital. Okay. Byju's, 100% digital, isn't it? Or Make My Trip or Airbnb, 100% digital. So these businesses are far more scalable than Walmart. Now, when I am saying Walmart is not as scalable as these, I am not saying it can't grow. All I'm saying is it cannot grow at the speed, at the rapidity at which these pure digital businesses can grow. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Look at the example of Infosys or TCS. They are huge businesses, right? Huge businesses, but they are very heavily manpower dependent. You want to double your revenue, you have to double your manpower. Correct? So they are not scalable businesses, but they have still grown a hell of a lot over many, many years. Infosys was launched, I think, in the year 1981, right? So it's about 40 years now. Okay. So Walmart is also not scalable, but because it's been around for so many years and they have capital, access to capital, they've been able to grow. But they cannot grow with the same speed as a guy like Facebook or Twitter or Google, right? All these are pure digital businesses. Is that okay? So scalability does not, if you're not so scalable, it does not mean you can't grow huge. I'm not saying that. It simply means you cannot grow that fast. That's all. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay. So now next issue. Yeah, Priyanka has raised her hand. Okay. So next issue is risk.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
I have one question. So when you said
Okay.
scalability about for a
Can
company,
you show your face for a minute? Yeah. Who's
yes, sir.
speaking? Is it Vikram?
Yes, sir.
Vikram. Vikram, if you're not
Yes, sir.
sitting in a banyan, then there's no problem. You can show
No,
your
sir. I'm on my phone.
Oh, okay.
So
That's okay.
sure you can see.
I'm sure your face is good looking, so please show it. The women on this chat would like to see your face.
Yes, sir. Sir, so when you spoke about scalability, so I just had one small doubt. So how do we say how scalable our business is? Say, okay, we take two companies which are based on digital services, how do you say one is more scalable than the other?
So basically, all I'm saying is anything which is solidly dependent on anything which requires time, that becomes less scalable. Anything which requires the addition of lots of manpower or lots of infrastructure, right? That is less scalable. Anything which does not depend on huge amounts of manpower, huge amounts of infrastructure to grow, that is more scalable. I'll give you another example. You look at
Okay.
Microsoft versus Infosys. Okay. Infosys is a business where you will earn dollars per person that you employ. So if you want to grow 4 times in a year, you have to add 4 times the number of people. Not easy, very difficult. Tough to add so many, tough to train them, tough to, then you have to house them, which means you need to build, create buildings and infrastructure and workstations and so on and so forth. Compare that with Microsoft. Microsoft does not depend on people. Microsoft is a product business. Once they have developed the product,
Yes, sir.
all they need is to be able to sell that product in large numbers. So they can grow very rapidly. Okay. So all I'm saying is anything which needs a lot of investment in either infrastructure or people, anything which is very highly physical, normally is much less
Yes, sir.
scalable. Okay.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Got it, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Vikram. But you still haven't shown your face.
Sir,
Okay.
okay, I'm sorry. I thought it was. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, the girl want to see your. See, handsome guy. I mean, come on, why are you depriving? Or maybe even Akash likes to see your face. I don't know what his tastes are. Maybe he also wants to see your face. Okay. And today, anyway, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can be a boy or a girl, it doesn't matter. Okay. So, risks. See, every business has risks, right? Okay. And one of the big risks which any business faces is the risk of competition. Okay. And which is why you need to have what I call an entry barrier. Tell me, what's an entry barrier?
Thank you, sir.
What's an entry barrier? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
So the medium through which you differentiate yourself from the competitor.
Yeah, Om. Just say that again. Can't hear you.
Sir, a medium through which you differentiate yourself from the competitor.
Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. So this is your business, right? You do something within this business which prevents your competitor from entering that business. Because if he enters your business, he can take away your clients, he can eat into your market share, and potentially he can kill you. Okay. So that's an entry barrier. It is a barrier which prevents your competitor from entering your business. Okay. Now, obviously, one great kind of entry barrier is if you have a highly innovative, highly unique solution. I think, who was that girl? Salaha, right? Her name was Saleha. She
Saleha.
mentioned if you have a USP, unique selling proposition, right? Now, please remember one thing, an entry barrier, it is something which is, see, nothing is a permanent entry barrier. Nothing is a perfect entry barrier. It cannot be, right? Because the other guy can always copy you. But you have to try and make it tougher and tougher for the other guy to enter. And that means your entry barrier becomes stronger and stronger, right? So, for example, if you have a patent, that's a very good entry barrier because legally, the other guy is not allowed to copy you, right? If you have a piece of software that you have developed over, let's say, 1 year, that's a decent entry barrier because maybe the other guy will also take 1 year, if not 1 year, at least 6 months to copy it, right? By which time, hopefully, you have the next version, so you're ahead, right? So please remember, entry barrier means you have to keep improving yourself so that you are always ahead of competition, and that's the only way you can sustain an entry barrier. Fair? What I want to ask is, how good is the entry barrier of Squirrel? Is it a business which can easily be copied, or is it not such a business? Tell me.
There are larger players like Glow can, release a similar product like that. And then,
Correct. Correct.
what
So I
do you
think
think about
Gaurav and Om are both speaking. Yeah, Gaurav, tell me.
Yes, sir. For initial days, we can think like it could be copied, but as the trust build up,
बहुत बढ़िया, wonderful,
it becomes the entry barrier.
wonderful. Beer or chocolate?
Chocolate, sir.
Gaurav, you don't drink beer,
No, sir.
or you had your quota for the week?
No, sir.
No, okay, okay, okay.
But sir, a company like Grow, which is already trusted in the market, and suppose a teenager like me, and if my mother is using Grow as well, so she'll recommend me to use Grow because it's
Sure,
already trustworthy.
absolutely, absolutely,
So
wonderful. Who said that?
it's easy for Grow to take over Squirrel
Yeah,
because
no,
it has the
absolutely
capital.
right. So, Om, beer or chocolate?
Sir, beer.
Beer. Okay, good, good. Akhil, please, chilled beer for Om. So you're absolutely right. Actually, the entry barrier in this business is very low. Is very low. Anybody can. You know, it's very easy for your client to jump to somebody else, right? And like Gaurav rightly said, over time, the trust the brand becomes a bit of an entry barrier, but even then, it is fairly low. It is fairly low, right? So therefore, in this business, the only way you can survive is you have to grow very, very fast, right? Because then you become big. People talk about you. People say, "Arey yaar, why haven't you tried Squirrel?" Oh, Squirrel. Okay, let me try it, right? So it is, you know, entry barrier is something which very often builds up over time. I'll give you a very simple example, by the way, of an entry barrier. Maggie noodles, right? A lot of people have tried to come out with noodles. They have not been able to beat Maggie. Okay. If somebody were to come out with another kind of noodles which has a different brand, but exactly the same taste, it will still not beat Maggie. Why? Because the brand is just too strong. Little kids, they don't ask for noodles. What do they ask for? They ask for Maggie. Right? I have a little granddaughter. She eats Maggie. She doesn't eat noodles. Right? So brand trust can become a very strong entry barrier over time. But in this kind of, so in fact, this is one weakness of Squirrel. Very, very low entry barrier. It's a weakness of this entire kind of business. Okay. So, yeah, so now we are at, we've covered 8 of these 10 things. Akhil, how are we doing on time? What is the time right now?
It's 7:50. Yeah, but if others are okay, then maybe we can take it more time.
Yeah, yeah, I can carry on. You guys are okay carrying on?
Guys, are you ready?
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Except I think Akash, he has to go and meet Deepika. Deepika auntie, sorry. Okay. So, yes, absolutely. Just hold on. Yeah. So now the next thing is team, right? The T in persistent. Now, you know, there is a saying that we have in the startup, in the world of startups, which says, if you have a great business model, but an average team, it will not work. But if you have an average business model and a wonderful team, a great team, they'll figure out a way to make it work, right? And therefore, we guys as investors, so I'm an angel investor, we guys as investors, the first thing we look for is the team, and the team starts with the founders, right? If we are impressed with the founder, if we like the founder, even if we have some doubts about the business, we are more likely to invest rather than if we find a weak founder but a great business. And this, by the way, these guys had a very strong founding team. They had 3 people with a lot of experience in the banking industry. Okay, so very strong team. Finally, what's the last thing?
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
So, like, how should students go about this? Like, we as students can be just from like IITs, like normal colleges. So, like, how should we differentiate ourselves, even if we have a great product or an idea? So,
So by
we'll
the
just
way,
be seen as a student, right? So, we
so
don't
by
have
the,
enough experience.
no. So experience is not the only thing. There are many things we look for in founders, and incidentally, We have very often, not only we, most angel investors have very often invested in extremely young founders, people without any experience. I'll give you an example. There is a guy called Archit, IIT Delhi. He and his co-founder have created a company called Sanfe, which is into women's hygiene products, right? They started in their second year. They got their first investment in the third year. And today, I think they have just raised some, if I remember right, 70 crores. And they are still just about 1 or 2 years after passing out. So it is not necessary. Yeah, somebody is saying wow. Kushal is saying wow. Yeah, it is not necessary that you have to have experience. Obviously, yeah, I mean, everybody cannot have experience. So what do founders look for in individuals? Sorry, what do investors look for in founders? First of all, passion. You must be passionate about the idea. Yeah. If you're not passionate, if you say, I'm running a startup, but evening 5 o'clock, boss, I'm going to switch off because that is my time with my girlfriend. I take her out for coffee and drinks. Nahi chalega, it won't work, right? Passion. You must be passionate about the business you're in, right? You must be in it for the long term. Founders who say, I want to create this and in 2 years I want to sell out and run. No investor will put money in there. Okay. You must be knowledgeable about the business you're in. That doesn't mean experience. It means knowledgeable, right? You must be willing to take tough decisions and handle tough situations. Very simple example. This last 1.5 years has been a very tough time for all founders, correct? There are some founders who have said, COVID, sorry, mar gaya. I can't do anything, right? My business is gone. All I will do is I will sit at home and watch Netflix, or I will play on my PlayStation, and I will curse the hell out of China, Xi Jinping, and the COVID virus. Okay, that's one kind of founder. The other kind of founder is the guy who says, no, I'm going to fight. And I've seen a lot of founders who fight. They fought, they actually converted the crisis into an opportunity, and they're doing well. These are the kind of founders we look for, right? Age is not an issue. We've invested in founders who are 20, 19. Okay, of course, you can't invest in a founder who's 17 years old because legally you can't have a company, right? But once you're a legal entity, which is once you're an adult, not a problem at all. Don't worry, not an issue. In fact, typically younger people have a lot more energy and therefore they are more likely to get money. But yes, these few factors which I've told you are important. Is that okay, Om?
Sir, but one genuine question is that, like, we only get like 10 to 20 minutes meeting with an investor. So how do we show all of this in this just a span of 20 minutes? They need
You
to
can't.
have a background.
You can't. Okay. So first of all, forget 20, 30 minutes. Sometimes you will only get 5 minutes and 5 minutes questions, right? But you must remember what you have to create. You see, you can't conclude the deal in those 5 plus 5 minutes. What you have to do is to create sufficient interest in the mind of the guy sitting across the table or sitting on Zoom for him to say, okay, I'm willing to talk to you further. Right? Passion, not a problem. It comes across. Knowledge about the business comes across, isn't it? Because the investors will ask you questions. If you have at least thought about answers to those questions, if you have answers, they're going to be impressed and they'll say, okay, wonderful. So 5 minutes ho gaya, but now I'm willing to meet you separately over a cup of coffee and we can spend half an hour, 45 minutes. So your idea is not to package everything into that 5 minutes. You can't, even God cannot do that. But your idea is to create sufficient interest for the guy to say, yes, I'm willing to meet you again. Is that okay? That's the way it works. Okay. So finally, after all this, right, what is the final proof of a successful business? You may have a great team, you may have a wonderful scalable model, highly innovative business, wonderful entry barrier. What's the final proof?
Revenue.
Execution.
Absolutely. Who said
Revenue.
that? Rishabh.
Yes, sir.
Rishabh, I remember, has only chocolates. I think.
No,
what
beer, sir.
Sorry, beer. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, only beer. Who said only chocolates? Anyway, okay. So Rishabh, you get one more can of beer, but only not more than 3 at one time. Okay, so absolutely, I call it traction. Are you getting customers? Are you getting revenues? Are these guys increasing month on month, quarter on quarter? Right? That's your traction. So the one thing which ultimately is the proof of a business is what I call traction. Okay, and these guys have got decent traction in the first, I think 1.5 years. They were able to get some 4 lakh users, of which about 2 lakh were active users. And today, I haven't met him in the last few months, but I think it will be closer to 8 or 9 lakhs as of today, more or less 1 million. Okay, I just want to add one thing, and then I'll close the story, which is, persistent is not only a framework, it's also an English word. And persistent means what?
So
Keep on and
continue.
on at it. Correct. You'll have problems, you'll have lots of problems. Just keep on at it and hopefully it will work. So, by the way, that's another thing we look for in founders, persistence, before we make an investment. Okay. So, with this, what I will do is I will stop this particular story, and yeah, just give me 1 minute. I'll now take the other one, the other part. Just give me 1 minute. Thank you. Just 1 minute. There is some problem here where I'm not able to minimize this thing. Please tell Cisco there is a problem. Akhil, I'm not able to get out of this and.
Oh, okay. Sir, if you are using Windows, please click on the window icon on the keyboard. Then, you can go back to your previous screen.
1 minute. It's very. Okay.
Yeah.
But you have to tell Cisco this.
Yeah, there are few bugs actually we have noted down.
I mean, Cisco is a huge company. They shouldn't have these bugs.
Yes. Yeah, even during the time of, while you're sharing the screen, then there is some other issues as well.
Yeah, correct. Okay. So this is now the second part. Okay. Can you see this? Yes. Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Rishabh, after 3 beers, is saying yes. Okay. No, but after 3 beers, I don't think he wants to see the screen. He wants to see the other guy's auntie.
No, sir. Surely I'll drink it after the complete presentation. I don't want to miss it.
Okay. Okay. So, yeah. So now I'll actually talk about the second thing which Akhil wanted me to, which is the actual
Sir,
investment process. Yeah. Somebody had a
hello.
question.
Sir, I wanted to ask a question regarding previous presentation. Is it good time?
Bolo.
Okay. Sir, as you mentioned that community as an entry barrier. So basically, when we talk about companies, like people are today calling Maggie or Google it instead of searching it. So that's a huge popularity they already have. But for a startup, we are gonna be building a community over a period of 2-3 years. Those who are rapidly scalable reach to a very decent stage in like 7-8 years. So is only community just as an entry barrier good enough for investors?
See, it's like this. When you say community, you mean the number of people on your platform, right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
See, what is important is, yes, the size of the community is important, but nobody expects you to be the size of Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn from day one or even in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. They don't expect, right? But what they do expect is you have grown fast enough and people, it is sticky, which means people who join you continue to be,
Coming back.
right? That sticky becomes very important. Number two, what they also look for is, do you offer something unique which the other communities do not, right? For example, look at LinkedIn, which has now been bought over by, I think, Microsoft, right? Why do people go to LinkedIn when there are communities like Facebook and WhatsApp and so on? Because LinkedIn is a professional community. It is for people who are looking at contacts, people who are looking for jobs. It's a very unique community, right? And that uniqueness you have not found anywhere else, correct? So it's working. Similarly, today you have this new community which has just come up, which I keep forgetting the name. Just hold on. Clubhouse. You guys have seen Clubhouse?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Now it's very new. I was told about it only about a few months back, right? And I happened to join it. It's a very interesting community. It's very different from Facebook, very different from LinkedIn. So what they have is they have a lot of interest groups. I am part of the startup interest group. And anytime there is some discussion going on, I get a message on my phone and immediately I can join the discussion, right? Nobody else offers that, right? You have to join as a member of that group, etc., etc. So Clubhouse is growing solidly, correct? So what you have to do is two important things. One is you have to offer some solid value, which the other huge existing communities are not offering. Number one. And number two, therefore, you have to prove that you are sticky. People who come will stay with you and not run away after watching you once, right? As long as you have these and you have a decent growth, sure, people are interested, not a problem.
But sir, like, isn't it easy for other companies like Facebook, to just take over your idea and work on it and release a copycat of that video? Like, same happened with Snapchat and Facebook. Snapchat rejected that deal, so Facebook came out with Instagram Reels, Instagram Stories. So isn't it easy for companies like these to just copycat your feature, and they already know that if this product is growing, so people are interested. So the basic startup principle is already gone, because you
No,
either
you're right.
get acquired or
You're
be destroyed.
absolutely right. See, you must remember one thing in life. Everything is copyable, right? Everything is copyable. Forget Facebook. Look at Mukesh Ambani. Anything you do, Mukesh Ambani can do better and faster than you, isn't it? But he doesn't do it. Why? He cannot do 900 things at the same time. So, and also, he does not want to be, and similarly, Facebook does not want to be in small businesses. So, what Facebook will do is they have two choices. One is they will say, okay, you have built this kind of community, we will build a similar community and we will give the same features. The other option is they will say, okay, right now it's too small, we are not interested. When that grows big enough, rather than starting to build again from scratch, we will simply buy you out, or we'll take a 30, 40, 50% stake in your business, right? That incidentally is another opportunity for you guys. So you grow something which initially is too small for Facebook or Amazon to be interested. When you grow to a large enough size, then suddenly the guy says, boss, this is a good business, it's a large business. Therefore, I want to do it. But rather than spending 1 year in building it from scratch, I'll buy you out. And you can see that happening. You've seen how even, for example, Microsoft has bought out LinkedIn, right? You've seen how Facebook bought out WhatsApp rather than saying we will create WhatsApp from scratch. You've seen how Mukesh Ambani in his Geo business, he's buying out lots and lots of startups. So he bought Savan, okay? He bought, I forget the name, this guy who does, um, it's called EasyGov, where it's an interface where any government service you can do through that interface. So they help you do get things like driving license, etc., etc. So rather than saying we'll build it from scratch, Mukesh Ambani says, "Boss, I will simply put in 40% equity in this company." So
So isn't
that's
that
another
creating a
option.
monopoly? Like
Sorry.
no other business, isn't that creating a monopoly? Like no other business can be equal to Facebook now. Like since
But
Facebook
you
is
know,
already
hold on.
like a
But you must remember this talk right now is not about why Mukesh Ambani is in a monopoly. It's not about that. That is an issue which the government of India will handle, and similarly, governments abroad will handle. Yes, you're right. When governments find that there is a monopoly, they will typically break down the company into maybe two or three parts, and that has happened. That has happened if you remember with the AT&T. AT&T was huge. They broke it down into I think three companies, right? Cadence was one, Bell Labs was one, and third was AT&T, right? So the government will do that. Similarly, Microsoft, they keep asking these questions, right? Amazon, they're asking these questions. Yes, you're right. But you know, as a founder, you have two options. One is you worry about running your business. Two is you worry about, अरे boss, Facebook monopoly है, वो क्या करेंगे? यार तू अपना धंधा संभाल, उसको छोड़ दे, isn't it? Right? Om is an economist, by the way. Om, you're an economist, is it?
not an economist, but I'm interested.
Okay. No, no, so you're right. But that's not something which you can do anything about. What you do is you focus on your business. If it grows and somebody wants to buy you also, Tatas have recently bought out Big Basket, isn't it? It happens. It happens. And that's one way in which investors get an exit because some big guy comes in and says, okay, boss, I'm going to buy you out. Okay. Can I move to the second presentation now? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, I need 1 minute more, sir, a little.
How about?
Sir, one is specific case. Like right now, for the grocery, local grocery market segment, there is a lot of hype among a lot of rich people, I'd say, and the companies. So today, like I guess you're in Bangalore, so Dunjo is there, Big Basket is there. But if you move to a tier two city or something like that, mostly there is no service available at all because they need manpower to scale. So if a startup comes up today, because these companies can copy always, but if a startup comes up today, builds a community, so people are buying, shopkeepers are selling. So will that be a good, and it is scales up to a lot of these type of cities in next 2 years. So will that be an interesting thing for investors?
It's an interesting thing, but you must remember. Let me come to that a little later. I will be talking about investors now, but just one thing you must remember. See, investors want to see proof. 10 years ago, investors would invest in a bright idea. Okay, in the year, let's say 2010, 11, 12. But then a lot of them lost money. So they said, boss, bright idea may work, may not work. You show me proof. You show me enough revenues, you show me enough traction, and you show me enough growth. Then I will invest. So the idea is good. I agree. In fact, many things which are there in big cities are not there in small towns. Right? For example, Zomato. Their service in Zomato, Swiggy in service in small towns is there, but it's not very great. Right? So yes, there is an opportunity. Sure. But you just go with that idea to investor, he'll say, boss, please show me proof. Show me that you've grown, 30% month on month. Then I'm interested, I will put money in. So yes, it's an interesting option, but you need to show proof.
So understood, sir. Maybe 100 cities are dependent on it, then investors are gonna love it.
Many more than 100, boss. Many more. See, I must tell you one more thing. The issue that Akash has raised is it's a very, very important issue. Today, to a large extent, our metros are saturated. Okay. Bangalore, Bombay, Delhi, Madras, Calcutta are saturated. The opportunities are in the tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 towns. Saharanpur, okay, Roorkee, Solan, maybe Shimla, right? And therefore, investors are very interested in this part of India, which we call Bharat, which is not the Delhi Bombay metros, right? So, yes, it's of interest, but they will want proof. They will not invest in an idea. Okay.
Understood, sir.
Yeah. So, let's get it. So, now you can get back to Deepika aunty. So, let's now look at. या तेरे को भूलने नहीं दूंगा मैं.
Yes, sir. I wore the shirt in the lines of Ranveer.
तो भूलना चाहेगा भी नहीं ना. Okay. Okay. So, by the way, can all of you understand Hindi, or does somebody have a problem? Because sometimes at least the jokes are in Hindi. Okay. So now I'll talk about money, right? Yeah. And by the way, this is again from the book. So everything I'm talking about is picked up from the book. So I will talk about getting somebody to buy shares in your company. I will not talk about debt funding, which means taking a loan. But that's a very different thing. And normally startups find it very difficult to get loans. So I look at people buying shares in your company, right? And the first people who will what I call friends and family, isn't it? Right? So chacha, mama, friend, girlfriend, boyfriend, girlfriend's father, boyfriend's father, all these guys, right? And you know, these people, they know you. Okay. Therefore, they will not ask too many questions. They will not want to see your 5-year projections. In any case, for a startup, 5-year projections are meaningless. They will not even want to see 1-year projections. They may even say something as simple as, I will say this in Hindi, then I'll translate. अरे मेरी, you know, your चाचा मामा में से मेरे को पता है बेटा तू नालायक है, पर कोई बात नहीं, अपना बच्चा है 2 लाख ले ले. Yeah. So he might say something like, look, I know you are useless, but you know, you're a child of the family, so I'm willing to give you 2 lakhs, right? So you'll get money, and you'll get money fairly easily. By the way, here it's a very, very important tip, and I'll keep giving you practical tips. Please always maintain good relations with all your rich relatives. Okay? Chacha, Mama, Rishabh हंस रहा है. क्यों हंस रहा है? And what I'm saying is absolutely valid. So, Chacha, Mama, anyway, right? Wish them on Diwali, wish them on Eid, wish them on their birthday, wish them on Ambedkar Jayanti. Anytime you want, wish them. Boss, you never know when you need to go to them for money. Now, Avni says, but I am the richest amongst relatives. Okay, so then people will keep wishing you. Yeah, so you want to wish your poor relatives? That is your problem. But rich relatives is very important from the point of view of funding. Okay. So by the way, for the boys, getting money from your girlfriend's father, that's an ideal source. The only thing is you're stuck because the guy will expect you to marry her. So that is your call. Okay. So because they're known to you, they will not ask too many questions. They will not take too many details. And they are willing to give you money at a very early stage. They will not ask for proof. They will say, Acha, it's a good idea. Chalo, okay, here is 2 lakhs. Right? But normally it will be small amounts. And normally in the friends and family round, by and large, you get anywhere between about 10 and 20, 25 lakhs total. Normally, unless you're in the Mukesh Ambani family, then of course, you don't need to hear this silly presentation. Right? Okay, so that's your friends and family. Then you come to angel investors. Now, I assume you guys know who angel investors are, right? What are they? Can somebody explain?
But they are the early stage investors of every startup.
Early stage investors, valid. And why are they called angels?
Because they are the first one who actually believe in the startup.
When nobody is willing to help you, when things are too risky, right? Who helps you? angels, angel investors, right? So these, by the way, Om, you get either a beer or a chocolate. Which one?
Now a chocolate.
Now chocolate, meaning?
Yes.
Chalo, okay. 2 chocolates for you. Okay. So, angel investors are the first, what I call, external investors in your company. See, your friends and family know you, right? But the angel investor doesn't know you. So because he doesn't know you, he will need a lot more detail about your startup to be convinced. Correct? What is this? Abhi tak pari ki kahani. Oh, angel investor. Okay. Somebody said that on chat. Okay. So, yeah, so typically they will need far more details. They may want to talk to your customers. They'll have to understand your product, and they will normally look for some traction, which I was telling, I think, Akash, right? So they will look for all this, but at the end of the day, they will give you more money. Okay. And angel round, normally you'll be able to raise anywhere between about 30 lakhs and typically 3 to 4 crores. Okay. And this comes after the friends and family round, right? Now I want to explain one interesting concept, right? What do angels look for before they make an investment?
Scalability of the product.
Okay, good. Rishabh, scalability. Beer. What
Traction.
else? Traction, wonderful. Beer.
So the
Nee,
return they can get
also.
from us.
Sorry?
The return they can get.
Return
Yeah,
on investment.
but for that, what will they look at? Because right now they don't know what returns they'll get. They can only
A
guess.
revenue model. A revenue model.
Yes, earnings model, valid. What else?
The team that is running the startup.
Team. So if I were to summarize all this, what would they look at?
A business model canvas, basically.
Is that correct? Was ultimately the founder and the investor, they want the same thing, isn't it? They want a company which is good, solid, grows, scalable, high entry barrier, operating in a high market size, etc., etc., etc. Right? Both of them want the same thing, right? So persistent is, you have to try and create a persistent business, and the investor will also be looking for persistent businesses to put their money into. They may not be using this term, by the way. This is a term which I have created, but they will use all these things. So they will look for an entry barrier. They will look for scalability, etc., etc. Okay, I want to talk about one more thing, and this is important to understand because Akhil told Akhil. By the way, your Dunzo thing is still not arrived. I'm very hungry now.
It's on the way.
I cannot see it on the way. I think you're fooling me. Okay. So anyway, so angel network. Anybody, can you tell me what an angel network is and why it is required?
There are a group of angels working together in a.
Okay, good. Who said that?
Woman.
Om. Okay, good. Om, chocolate or beer?
Beer now.
Beer now. यार तो कभी chocolate लेता कभी beer लेता. Make up
I'm
your
going
mind.
alternatively, sir.
Okay, okay. Okay, fine. Yeah. So absolutely right. So it's a group of angels. Why is an angel network required?
Because there'll be different ideas they'll be working with, and it is easier for an investor if he collaborates with another investor and make the right decision.
Good, wonderful, wonderful. So you get 2 cans. Yeah, ऐसे कर यार. I won't keep giving you तो एक पूरा carton ले ले. Akhil, 1 full carton of beer to Om. No? Where are you, Om? Where do you live?
So in Bangalore, fresh.
Bangalore. Okay. So Akhil, carton of beer. Okay.
Yes.
So I'll give you a little background. Yeah. You know, if you go back about 20 years in time, right? Yeah, Akash also mentioned something, correct? So if you go back about 20 years in time, there were only a few rich angels, maybe 300 angels, 400 angels, right? Who were these rich angels? Guys like Ratan Tata, who else? Narayan Murthy, okay? Nandan Nilekani, Azim Premji, Om Divya Tej, Akhil Madhav, right? Vijit Kumar, right? Akash Pratap Singh, right? So real rich guys, Rishabh. So, these were real rich guys. And I told you at the angel level, you're looking for maybe 1 crore, maybe 2 crores. So Ratan Tata, there is no problem putting in 1 crore. Or at the most, he'll catch hold of one friend and they'll say, okay, I put in 1, you put in 1, do ho gaya. Okay. So no problem because there were only a few rich angels. Today, there is a change. See, today, what has happened is the world of startups is booming, as you know, isn't it? It's really booming. Okay. Every day you have a new unicorn coming up. How many unicorns do we have in the country today? Anyone?
21, sir.
21 is this? No, the 21 has now become 30, by the way. It's about 30. And total, I think, total unicorns in the country must be about 60 or 70. 60 maybe.
38.
But 38.
This year, this has been a boom.
Yeah, so suddenly it is booming. And you can see people who invested in Byju's got 100 times returns. People who invested in OYO rooms have got returns which are 80 times, right? So everybody, not only Ratan Tata, everybody, the common man says, boss, even I want to make this kind of money. Okay. And because of that, just give me 1 minute. Because of that, everybody now wants to invest in startups. The common man wants to invest in startups. These are not rich people. And I have a term for this guy. And the term I use for this guy is Aam Aadmi angel investors. Okay. Om is smiling, but please note this has no connection with what?
Political party.
Correct. No connection with Mr. Kejriwal's party. Common man investor. They could be lawyers, they could be doctors. I was a professor. I was earning a professor's salary, which is a government salary. I'm an Aam Aadmi angel investor, right? I can't put in the 1 crore that guys like Om and Rahul can, but I can put in 5 lakhs. Okay. So now the problem is because these guys cannot put in big amounts, the fund that the startup wants to raise, 1 crore, 2 crore, 3 crores. Now, one Ratan Tata is not enough. One Narayan Murthy is not enough. What do you need now? Lots of people together, each putting in 5, 6, 8, 10 lakhs. Okay. So that is one reason for an angel network getting investors together, getting angel investors together. Okay. That's number one. And by the way, today you probably have about 30 to 40,000 Aam Aadmi angel investors in the country, and the number is booming. It's really growing because everybody is interested in making this kind of money. Okay. Second, here, if you have a question, I suggest you ask because what you put in the chat, it disappears in about 5 seconds. I can't read it, right? So maybe let me finish this and then you can ask the question, right? Somebody called DV Singh, I think it was. Okay. So the other thing is, the rich angels, the guys like Narayan Murthy, they had support. They had their lawyers, they had their accountants, they had their business analysts, no problem. But the Aam Aadmi angel does not have any support. I don't have any support. So what do I depend on? The angel network. Okay. So what is the angel network? And I'll just give you an example. I am a part of Lead Angels. That is one of the larger. Have you guys heard of any angel networks? Anyone?
The Mumbai Angel Network.
Mumbai Angel is one of the big ones. Yes, right. Anybody else? Indian Angel Network is probably the oldest.
Yeah.
Okay. Big again. Chennai Angels is big, right? Hyderabad Angels, Lead Angels, which is the network where I am involved. That's also one of the big guys. Then you have a lot of small guys. You have Chandigarh Angels. You have one called Marwadi Angels. Then you have, I think, there's a Jaipur Angel, Jammu Angel. So chota, lots of these chota ones. But the big ones are typically about 8 or 9. Okay, like Lead Angels, like Indian Angel Network, like um, Chennai Angel, Mumbai Angels. So now, what does the Angel Network do? It's basically like a club. Yeah. So this is a club, and the club has members, right? And the members are who? The members are angel investors. Okay. So, for example, Lead Angels has about 200 members, and they are all angel investors. Most of them are Aam Aadmi Angel, but some are rich angels as well. What happens when a startup wants money from an angel investor? He will not go to an individual angel because he doesn't even know who that angel is. His neighbor might be an angel investor. He doesn't know. But all these angel networks are known. So he will apply to an angel network. Right? So let's say he applies to Lead Angels. So Lead Angels will evaluate the opportunity, decide whether it is worth putting up to its members or not, and then ask the guy to make a presentation to the members. Okay. And then the members decide, yes, worth it, not worth it, etc., etc., etc. And then, the question which Om had, obviously you can't take a decision in that one presentation, but then they'll say, okay, we will now spend 1 month with you evaluating your startup because we think there is basic interest. All right. So then they will evaluate it, etc., etc., and all that. The support will be provided by the angel network. Okay. So the angel network basically is like a club of members, and as a startup, you apply to the angel network for funding, and it helps all these investors to put money into the startup. Okay, so I've talked about angel. Yeah, somebody asked a question. Yeah, don't ask in chat again. Your question is gone. So maybe let's finish this presentation, then you can ask, right? Shishir, I think the guy's name is. I don't know. Akhil, again a feedback to Cisco. These little chats which come up, I mean, they disappear in 2 seconds. So we can't even read them. So now there is something called a VC. I want to ask you one question. And for this question, whoever gives me the correct answer will get 5 cans of beer. Okay. What is this fundamental difference between the angel and the VC? And if you give a wrong answer, I'll take back 1 can. Tell me, fundamental difference.
With respect to whose money they're investing.
Sorry?
With respect to whose money they're investing, maybe angel investors are the ones who invest their own money, whereas VCs own a particular company and they invest on behalf of someone else.
Who said that? Who said that?
Pranav.
Pranav, where is your face? I can't see your face.
I don't know.
Ah,
My video is on.
okay. Wonderful. 5 cans of beer to you. Pranav, you don't drink beer, is it? You're not even smiling.
No, I don't.
You don't drink beer. Okay, 5 chocolates. There are some people in this world who refuse to, who insist on being boring. Take 5 chocolates to you. Okay. So, there are 2 ways in which you can invest in a startup. One is you say, I understand this business, right? I will invest in Byju's, or, I will invest in Oyo Rooms or Grofers or whatever. It doesn't matter what, right? 2 is you say, I want to invest in these startups, but I don't know how. I don't have time, and I don't know which startups to invest in because I don't have the know-how. So what I will do is I will give my money to a fund manager. That guy will pick up money from me and from a lot of other people, and he creates a fund. That guy is called a VC, a venture capitalist. So it is an organization which takes money from investors and then it says, okay, now I will invest this money in Byju's or Grofers or Oyo Rooms or Zomato or whatever on your behalf. So the VC is not investing his own money. He is investing the money he has collected from his investors, right? That's a VC. So fundamental difference, exactly as Pranav rightly said, is the VC typically invests somebody else's money on behalf of the investor, whereas the angel will normally invest his own money. There are some changes which are happening now, so there is some overlap, but by and large, this is true. Okay. Therefore, which of them can take more risk, the VC or the angel?
Angel.
Angel. Who said that? Who said that? Akash, is it? No. Yeah.
The VC.
Correct. Absolutely right.
Let's take more risk.
When you're putting in your own money, you do what you want. I like Byju's face. I say, boss, I'm going to put in 6 lakhs. Nobody can stop me, right? If that business fails, okay, too bad, I lost 6 lakhs. But if I'm a VC, I cannot play around with other people's money. Otherwise, my business is finished. Tomorrow, nobody will give me money to invest, right? So the VC has to be far more careful before making investment compared to the angel. Yeah, just give me 1 minute. Sorry.
So isn't VC similar to mutual funds? We
Absolutely. Wonderful. Who said that? Who said
Sir
that?
Rishabh.
Badhiya, Rishabh. 5 cans. Yeah, Akhil, I hope you're not running out of cans of beer.
No, we just ordered a new stock. Yeah.
Okay. No, I sent that to you. Oh, you finished it, is it? Okay. Absolutely. A VC behaves exactly like a mutual fund. Correct. Where you don't decide where to put in the money as an investor, you give it to the mutual fund, the fund manager puts that money. Okay. So you still make money, but you don't take decisions. Okay. So the angel obviously can take more risks than the fund manager. Therefore, who will invest at an earlier stage? Who will invest at a later stage?
Sir, angels will invest in this. This is definitely a
Perfect. Perfect. Right? Because initially, the earlier the business is, the more risky it is. You don't know whether it'll survive or not. Right? So the angel invests earlier. Friends and family first, then angels, then VCs. Okay? And therefore the VCs will do a far more detailed evaluation of the company, but at the end of the day, they will put in far more money. And the VCs can put in anywhere from 4 crores, 10 crores, 20 crores, $2 million, $10 million, $250 million, any amount. Okay. So I'll just, by the way, what do VCs look for? You've seen what angels look for before putting in money. What do VCs look for?
for growth of the company, sales,
Growth, yes. That's traction, yes. What else?
persistent also.
Sorry?
Persistent, the model persistent.
बहुत बढ़िया, बहुत बढ़िया. So Om also gets 5 cans of beer. They look for the same thing, isn't it? Ultimately, all investors and the founders will look for the same thing: successful, growing company. That's it, right? The only difference is the VC will do far greater, far more detailed evaluation of the company before putting in money, and they will look for far more traction than the angel will. Okay. Somebody asked a question, what kind of traction does the angel look for? Normally, if you have decent gross margins, right? The angel investor looks for approximately 7 to 8 lakhs per month of revenue, but growing. We should be growing. You can't be stagnant. That's typical. But if it's a great idea, it could be less. If it's not such a great idea, he might ask for more. Yeah, that's typically the traction that people look for. Okay. So, yeah, I'm just summarizing. So if you look at friends and family. So who takes the most risk and who takes the least?
Friend, family, obviously.
Perfect. Okay. Amount of investment
VCs have the
Reverse.
and valuation.
VC.
Same as amount of investment.
Same.
Okay. Wonderful. So what I will just do is I will stop sharing and just give me 1 minute. Oh, again, I have the same problem. 1 minute.
Windows key, sir.
Just 1 minute. Again, same problem with this guy. Just give me 1 minute. I'm just trying to conclude. Okay. Is there a chat? Where is the chat over here?
So there is an
Sir, the
option. Yeah.
bottom right
Bottom
corner.
right.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So by the way, in case you want to pick up a copy of the book, it is, I've just said it here. Yeah. So I just put in a link and I'm happy to sign the book and treat you to coffee and burgers and samosas, tea, whatever you want, because I realize most founders don't have money. So I'm quite happy to at least take care of one meal for you guys whenever we meet after COVID, not before COVID. Yeah. Now questions. And incidentally, if you guys want to connect to me on LinkedIn, you're most welcome. I may not be able to mentor everybody, but I mean, a few people normally I'm able to. Obviously, there is a certain, I have a limitation of time because if I keep maintaining everybody, then my wife who is listening, she will divorce me. And at this age, I will not get a new wife or even an old one. So I have to be a little careful about how many people I take on. Yeah. Okay, tell me questions. Oh, somebody's already searched and ordered on Amazon. Shishir. Okay, good. So one more can of beer for you. I can't see Shishir's face. Where is Shishir's face? Okay, yeah. Tell me. Any questions?
Yes, okay. Apache user.
Okay, for me. Sir, there's one thing for the angel networks, basically. But the main thing we find in angels rather than VCs is they give us a lot more freedom to work with, and they are mainly interested in the early age startups. So, sir, up to what extent, sir, it is a good idea? Because, like, for as an investor, I think there is a limitation that you must be making this much amount of money in a year to be an investor. So, till how much is a good idea? What kind of angels should we look into to ensure that there is not a lot of pressure and all that?
Okay. So, first of all, if you go to an angel, see, firstly, you will not go to individual angels normally, right? Because you don't even know who they are, right? You'll go to an angel network.
True.
Within that, you actually don't know within the network. So let's say lead angel has 200 members. You don't know which 20 of them are going to invest in your company, right? So you don't have a choice. However, anybody who's a professional angel investor and therefore is part of a network realizes that you need to give the startup time. And we all realize that, right? So we give the startup time. Many of them do not make money. Many of them take a long time to get their revenues to grow. We are okay. We are okay. Sometimes, what we want is we want you to at least be sharing with us maybe every quarter what you are doing, where you have reached, and then we will give you suggestions. You are the guy who will run the company. We can't run the company. We are not managing the company, right? So normally we will let you run the company. We don't have a problem. We will not put pressure on you. Pressure usually comes from, I'll tell you who. So I don't know if you know, in Delhi, I live in Delhi, there is a wholesale market called Chabdi Bazaar. Okay, very close to the New Delhi railway station. Okay, very close to the Chandni Chowk area, right? Somebody had come to me and said, "Sir, I'm getting a 20 lakh investment from one of my neighbors. He has a wholesale shop in Chowdhury Bazaar." I said, "Boss, do you know him?" He said, "No, sir, I don't know him." I said, "Don't take that money because every few months he's going to ask you, where is the profit? Where is the profit? Where is the profit?" Because his thinking is entirely driven by, I must keep getting profits in the short term. Don't go to him. But normally, if you go to an angel network, they do not think of short-term profits. Their horizon is very long. It's normally, they are okay waiting for 4 years, 5 years, not a problem. Because see, you must remember one more thing. A typical angel investor who's part of a network, he usually will invest in 10, 12, 15 different startups and he'll put in small amounts in each one of them. So maybe about 5 lakhs in each one of them. Right? So therefore, he realizes, 10 of them may go down, 3 or 4 of them may do okay, but that one guy will really make him a lot of money. So he's okay. So normally you do not have pressure from angel investors. It's not a problem. For example, in my case, I have invested in 12 startups so far. About 4 or 5 of them have died. They've collapsed, right? And 3, 4 are doing okay. One guy is doing brilliantly, absolutely brilliantly. And I'm very happy because that one guy is making up for all the other 11, right? So there's no pressure. Normally, with angel
Understood, sir.
investors, you don't have pressure.
Understood.
Any other questions?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So I have basically two questions. To start with, the first one is, what is the most important thing we need to highlight while approaching an investor? For a medical related hardware product, what is the basic thing we need to highlight for them so that it is be more attractive for them? Okay, that is like eye catchy point. So what is the basic thing we have to showcase that for a medical related product?
Yeah. So actually, not only for medical. Okay. So first of all, you must realize one thing. Um, for a long time, investors have been more reluctant to invest in hardware products compared to software and services, right? And the big reason for that, unfortunately, was the competition from China. Okay, because the feeling always was, and it's a valid feeling, that in China, given the fact that the scale is much larger and cost of production is typically lower because of whatever reason, automation or whatever, you won't be able to compete with those guys. Even statues of Ganesh, Lakshmi Ganesh during Diwali, they come from China, right? But good thing for you guys is what has happened is that there is now a fear of China. And nobody wants to depend on China anymore because there's too much uncertainty over there. So today, the likelihood of getting funding for hardware is a lot higher than it used to be earlier. That's number one. Number two, I think the biggest thing you have to talk about, the biggest thing that these guys are interested in. See, first of all, they are interested in the entire persistent model, like I said, right? The one big thing they would like to understand is how are you different? In fact, I would say two things. Number one is how big is your market? And number two, how are you different? How will you keep out competition? If you can do that, then the chances are you'll be able to grow. So these are probably the two biggest things I as an investor would look at. And my guess is most investors would look at this. If you're doing something which everybody else is also doing, big deal, why should I invest? So if let's say you're creating, as an example, a stethoscope, big deal, why should I invest in you? But recently we funded a very interesting stethoscope where uh, from the stethoscope, from the signals that are picked up by the stethoscope, that is analyzed using machine learning, and certain guidelines about the patient, about his history, about what's happening, are given to the doctor. Now that is unique, and therefore suddenly people are very, very interested. This is a unique stethoscope, and we were able to get funding for that. So basically, the one big thing everybody looks for is it the same thing that everybody is doing, or is it something which is unique? Yeah, but ultimately it's the entire persistent model.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir. And the second question which I wanted to ask
Sorry,
was,
and
yeah.
traction is one very good way to prove that the market accepts what you're doing.
Yes, sir. Got it, sir. And the second question was, I think it's too straightforward question, but what is the basic percentage of profits they ask from a company as they're investing into it? So
Profits.
yeah, so actually they usually ask for returns, right? So what is the basic thing from them? Like what is the basic, do they ask in terms of percentages, or is it a fixed amount? So depending upon that.
Okay. No, hold on. I think it's a little confusing. 1 minute. So firstly, no investor at the angel level looks for the company being profitable. He wants to make a money on his investment. He wants to make a profit, yes. But that does not necessarily mean that the company has to be profitable. You have huge companies, Zomato, uh, Byju's, Paytm, all these are loss-making companies, right? But they keep getting investments on a regular basis, and therefore, when I make an investment, some years later, maybe 2, 3 years later, somebody else buys my shares, and therefore I get an exit. And when I get an exit, hopefully at a higher valuation, the investor makes a profit, right? So first of all, let me clarify. The investor is looking for his profit, not the company profit. Let's make that very clear. Secondly, what the investor looks for. See, you must remember, in the stock market, if you're reasonably smart, right, or you invest in mutual funds, 15 to 20% returns per year is on a long term basis is normally fairly possible, right? Because even these big companies, HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, Reliance, they will give you this 15-20% per year, right? So the angel investor looks for far more profit in a startup, right? There is no amount that is defined. There's no amount defined. What he basically looks for is 2, 3 things. He says, is the company scalable? Is it likely to keep growing? Is the market size large enough? Do you have an entry barrier so that you keep growing and keep competition out? And therefore, at some stage, will some other investor, which may be a bigger angel or which may be a VC, will buy my shares, and therefore I will get an exit. That's what he looks for, right? Nobody looks for numbers except that on an average, they would want higher returns than you would get typically in the stock market. So
Thank you, sir. Got it.
they look for companies where the opportunity is good, it's big, it's large. Uh, but ultimately, what happens, God knows, isn't it? Yeah.
Uh,
Hi, sir.
sir,
Good evening, sir.
so for two startups competing in the same domain,
Yeah.
so is it viable to just collaborate with each other or acquire one another? Like if I have an opportunity, like suppose the startup is working in the same domain as mine, so should I collaborate since it is bigger than me, and or should I just compete against them?
It's a very general question. It's a very, very general question. Normally, see, okay, first of all, you must remember India is a huge market. It's a phenomenally sized market, right? And there is space for multiple players. Okay. You look at, for example, the e-commerce business. There are four large players. There's Amazon, there's Flipkart, there is JioMart, and there is now Tata's. Okay, right? Four very large players. If you look at even the travel business, you got Make My Trip, you got Easy Trip, you got now this guy.
Go
Um,
Ibibo.
yeah, Goibibo, and you've got Yatra, and you've got this guy, the new guy who's coming, Ebix Cash. Okay, so you got at least 5 large players. So you must remember it's a huge market where you can have multiple players, not a problem, right? But if you have 500 players, 1000 players, then you will find everybody is taking a very small fragment of the market and you won't grow. In that situation, it may not be a bad idea to work together where you merge. And I've seen that happening. I there is a very interesting company, I forget the name. They were operating in Delhi and they were supplying um, morning, what you need for breakfast, milk, eggs, bread, etc., 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 and fresh and natural stuff. And they were doing fairly well. Then there was another similar company in Chandigarh. And these guys realized they were in the same business. So they said, okay, let us pool together. Let's put our know-how together. Our investments will be common and therefore we'll be able to grow faster. So it's a good idea. It's a good idea. Normally, buyout works when one company is much bigger than the other one. Otherwise, you'll have a merger if your companies are both around the same size, right? So it's possible. Sure, it's possible.
Yes, sir. So is pre-seed investment same as angel investment?
Sorry, Isa?
Is pre-seed investment same
Right?
as angel investment?
What do you mean same? No, see, they are putting in money, but they will put it in at a much later stage, as I mentioned, and a much larger amount, right? And typically, the VC will be much more stringent with conditions than the angel will. Much more stringent because they are. It's a professional group. They are putting in far bigger amounts. They are doing it on behalf of other people, so they are normally far more stringent. So basically, it's much larger with more stringent conditions.
So I had another question. Is
Yeah.
seed funding, SEED, seed funding, is it also in exchange for equity or is it not?
Yeah. Who said that? I can't see your face.
It's because I haven't turned my video on. I think now you should be able to see it.
Rahul, is it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Rahul, you have a good face. Why don't you want to show it? You also have a good beard. By the way, a founder with a beard, a tech founder with a beard, it's a joke, is more likely to get funding. Okay. So first of all, seed is it's a very generic term, right? I mean, it can mean anything. Seed funding could be what your friend gives you, the 5 lakhs your friend or your chacha or your mama gives you. Bus, 5 minutes. I'll just come. You start, I'll just join you. Oh, I'm being called for dinner. Yeah. So, yes, it is. So, it could be that. It could also be the first round of angel funding. So, seed means many things, right? I mean, I don't want to get into what seed means. Anybody can use whatever he wants it to mean. But yes, seed funding means they take equity in the company. And incidentally, I must give you one suggestion. Don't dilute too much equity too fast. Because if you do that, you'll find it much tougher to raise the next round. Because then the next investor is going to say, boss, you don't have enough stake in your company. I'm not interested. I will not invest. Yeah. So don't dilute too much. But yeah, seed is equity. Okay. Let's take one last question and then maybe we'll close.
So I
Because
just had one question,
yeah,
if that's okay.
yeah, sure.
Yeah. So my question was, in your experience of working with early stage startups, what are some of the things that they have done that are like clear red flags for investors?
Okay. So I will base it on the persistent model, right? So incidentally, one very important thing is too much dilution, which I just told you, right? One very common thing which I found is that they underestimate competition. And that's probably the most common thing I've seen. Right? Look, I am doing this and it's very unique. And it's always very easy to think highly of your own company. So they have that one slide in a PPT where they have, the 5 or 6 competitors, and the competitors have crosses against them in most cases, and this guy has ticks in all cases, right? That is silly. Be realistic. So you have to be realistic about competition, because you must remember, if you are in a good space and if you have a great opportunity, I mean, the other guy also has a great opportunity. Why wouldn't he jump in, right? So that's one very important thing. Secondly, when you look at competition, do not only look at competition, look at potential competition. You look at a classic example of Bharti Airtel, right? Airtel thought the only competition they had was Vodafone, Idea, and maybe BSNL. Suddenly, Mukesh Ambani was born, and he's bigger than Bharti Airtel now, isn't it? So it is not only competition, but somebody who is in a different business but finds it easy to move to your business. That's also competition. That's potential competition, right? So never, never, never underestimate competition. Okay. So that's, I think, one of the biggest mistakes that founders make. The other thing the other mistake which founders make is very poor entry barrier. You must have a solid entry barrier. And, once you've got an entry barrier, don't sit back and start drinking beer. Boss, I've got my entry barrier. Now I'll relax. I'll lie down in a hammock on a beach. Business is on. No. Your entry barrier has to be dynamic, because people are going to catch up with you. So every 6 months, you have to keep improving your entry barrier. So the guy who copies you is always 6 months behind you. I'll give you one simple example. I had once been to Intel. You know Intel, right? The company which makes microprocessor chips, right? So I had been to the head office, to the R&D office in California. And the R&D chief was giving us a presentation. And he said, the product that we have just brought out into the market is already 2 generations obsolete. Why? Because we have to bring out the next generation and the next generation, and we're already working on them. If we don't, the other guy will copy us and we are killed. And you can see that with Microsoft Windows, you can see that with Apple iPhone, you can see that everywhere, right? So please remember, entry barrier is not permanent. Build an entry barrier, but keep building on it so you're always ahead of the other guy. I think these are the 2-3 big things I have, mistakes I've seen.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, that's been really
Okay. Yeah. So, Akhil, can we conclude now? Because your Dunzo has still not arrived. I'm hungry, so I'll eat my roti.
Sure, sir, sure. Yeah, so we can conclude now. So I will definitely share the book link with every startup track teams as well as our other participants. So I'm just going to send them a feedback form. So along with that, I will definitely share the book link. And
Sure.
yeah, then the first of all, this is one of the best interactive session in the history of Thinkubator, I would say.
That is because you guys have got free beer.
Yes, yes, yes.
So we're like
Later,
sucking
sir.
like at it.
Actually, I really love your passion and dedication, sir. Actually, we planned for just 1 hour, but now it's around 9 o'clock. So
Yeah,
this
I
is
know.
amazing, sir. I really love the way you are talking to the students, and I hope maybe in the coming days, I mean, maybe the end of startup track, we are very happy to invite you again because the
Sure.
students are really loves to interact with you. Yeah.
Sure. Most welcome. Most welcome. The only thing is, right now I'm trying to cut down on physical travel, but
Yeah.
online, no problem. Physical, the moment we find COVID is down, no. In fact, if you guys are from different colleges, we can organize similar sessions in your college as well. Now, I'm always very happy to interact with young people because I learn from them, and it also keeps me young. You can see I'm very young.
Yes, sir. You're very young and energetic. That's the most important
I
point.
I have a granddaughter, by the way.
Oh, cool.
Okay, chalo, great, wonderful,
Yeah.
good, good talking to all
Thank
of.
you, sir.
By the
Thank
way,
you
how
very
many
much.
people do we have in this? I could not check that.
Right now we have 29 participants,
Okay,
around 27. Yeah.
okay,
So actually we got the registration around 150 plus, but around 60 participants joined. 60. Yeah.
oh, there were 60 initially.
Yes, in the beginning, it was 16, but now we have 30 people. I mean, half of them still with us. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Chalo, all the best, all of you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank you
To
so much,
get
sir. Thank you for
side
the
got
wonderful
back.
session, sir.
Bye.
Thank you.